News Talk 550 KFYI Election 2012. Presented by Medifast Weight Control Centers.
Thanks to the Medifast Weight Control Centers of Phoenix, I lost over 30 pounds over 3 years ago. It's not just weight loss, it's a lifestyle change. And it's not a miracle, it's Medifast.
Reporting live from the Republican National Convention in Tampa, Florida, Mike Broomhead.
I sound tired. It's this West Coast thing that we all have to do with. Breakfast speeches are always hard for a West Coaster when we come to the East Coast, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I am so happy to be with all of you for a number of reasons. First of all, let me just start by saying my congressional district borders on Arizona. I represent the city of Blythe, which you might know as the more expensive part of Quartzsite. But if you're in Blythe, just keep on going so you can actually fill up your tank of gas in Arizona so you can actually afford the bill. But I do represent that shared border, the Colorado River, and the things that we fight over between Arizona and California. Anyway, so I feel like one of you, and as a representative from California with two U.S. senators, Dianne Feinstein and Barbara Boxer, I feel like your senators probably do a better job of representing me. So in any event, I'm happy to be here with you. I'm probably also the only member of Congress who's ever ridden on horseback down to Keat Seal. Does anybody know Keat Seal, Navajo National Monument? There you go. You've walked it, yes. I rode it a few years ago. As a member of Congress, I was able to take horses in again and go ride it. But years ago, as a child, my parents used to drag me around everywhere in the desert Southwest. Arizona was I remember Havasu Falls, Supai. I think I was 3 years old when we were at Supai. So yeah, I can keep going with my Arizona stories like you would not believe. So I was at Arkansas earlier. I did not have these stories I could share with them with Arkansas, but happy to be here with you guys because I feel like I said we're kindred spirits. My congressional district starts at Blythe, it goes on to, anybody know the outlet malls on I-10 or the famous dinosaurs? Dinosaurs, okay. That's my congressional district. So if you see dinosaurs, think of Mary, I suppose. But it is an exciting time to be here with all of you, and as a member of Congress, I'm always appreciative of the opportunity to speak to a bunch of folks and like this, and to share with you our enthusiasm for the Romney-Ryan ticket. But before I go there, I just want to say why I appreciate that you're here to listen to a member of Congress, and to say that, my husband now is a member of Congress also. He's running for Senate here in the state of Florida. But Connie and I were at the beach a little while ago, and this man kept just talking about himself. He was from Brooklyn. And that's funny already. That's awesome. He was from Brooklyn, and he started talking about his life, and he's just talking with this Brooklyn accent. And he really wanted us to know that he was a very important person with a really wonderful life. And the more we ignored him, the louder he got. So I said to the man from Brooklyn, okay, sir, you really want us to know who you are and what you do. What is it that you do? And he said, well, I'm a bookie. And so I said, he started talking about how great being a bookie business is these days. So I said, well, sir, you probably shouldn't tell us anymore because we're both members of Congress and you could probably get in trouble. We could all get in trouble if we know what you actually do for a living. So the bookie looked at me and my husband, he said, you're both members of Congress? You're the lowest of the low. And that was from a bookie. And I'm thinking, and that was when Congress's approval rating was twice what it is now. We're up in the 14s, and now we're still down at 7. But in any event, my story is an interesting one. Like Hector alluded to, and I appreciate Hector's work. He's such an important voice in our state and in our party. Thank you for what you're doing. It's a tireless, lot of work. Thank you for doing what you do. But this supposed war on women amazes me. It cracks me up. Yeah, ladies, thank you. Isn't it just offensive? It is so funny. I think about what inspired me to run for Congress. People might not know my story, but my late husband was Sonny Bono. He died in an accident, and thank you. When he died, people encouraged me to run for his seat. Now, like a lot of women, I didn't know what I was made of. I didn't know I could be a member of Congress. Heck, I didn't even know if I could speak into a microphone. Seriously. Public speaking is a very terrifying thing for most people. But people encouraged me to do it and to try to do it. And the people who inspired me the most to run to be a member of Congress were my mother. My mother was a chemist during World War II. She worked shortly on the Manhattan Project. She contributed a very important role to our country and to our national defense. My grandmother, though, my grandmother was widowed at the beginning of the Great Depression, and in order to make ends meet, she raised chickens and sold eggs. You know, and so I thought, if my grandmother can do it, my mother can do it, you know, I can do it. But this supposed war on women is so offensive to me. It's really amazing. What women care about, I'll tell you what we care about. We care about the price of gas in our tanks.
Right.
We care about the economy, we care about jobs, we care about the safety of our families. First and foremost to me, when you talk about the safety of our families, is we talk about national security. You know, my father was a waist gunner in a B-17 crew who flew 19 missions over Germany. Wow. His bomb group was the very first bomb group to do daylight raids over Berlin. National security is incredibly important to me. All I have to do is think about Barack Obama leaning over to Medvedev to fondle his knee, to tell him, don't worry, you know, give us some more room after the election, I can give you what you want. Yeah. Russia. You know, this is why I'm a Republican, because I believe so much in national security, and I believe it's important to the future and the safety of our children. And then when you hear somebody like Debbie Wasserman Schultz say that, that the Democrats are so much better for our children, that they care about our children, really, is that true? Is that why you're overspending and putting our children into debt with this huge deficit and spending that Barack Obama has taken upon us? So, in any event, that's probably, you know, I think my most important message is, as women, you know, this whole thing, I'll tell you, we care a lot more, again, about how much it takes to fill up our gas tank than the price of birth control pills. I mean, it cracks me up. Like, this is the women's issue that they all think that that's the only thing we care about. We don't. We're much bigger and more diverse than that. But before I go too much farther, I wanted to do two things. I wanted to introduce two people important to me who are here. My Chief of Staff, Frank Cullen, who Frank was with my late husband, Sonny Bono, at the City of Palm Springs. I only introduce Frank because I do the good cop, bad cop thing. So Frank is the good cop. And then I like to introduce Mark Trost, who's my political director. Mark, stand up. And can you stay standing for 1 second? No, you can't leave the room. This is what I do. When staff does things that are, you know, I love to find humor and irony in life. Part of Mark's job as my political director is to get me where I'm supposed to be and at the right place and on time. I mean, that's part of his job, right, Mark? Did you say? That's a fair, okay, great. Oh, well, it's a goal. Well, my favorite Mark story is we were on our way to a funeral one day, and he took me to the wrong one. So this is why I do this. This is the walk of shame. I'm never doing this to Mark, so he'll never do this again. It's great, we go to the wrong funeral, but we walk into the church, we sign the guest book. We walk in and we tiptoe down the pew and we sit down and we look around for a little while and we go, we are in the wrong place. Yeah, we're in the wrong funeral. So we left and we went to the right funeral. But the next day, the family of the wrong funeral called us to thank us so much for attending the funeral of somebody I had never met before, and they said forever and ever they would vote for me as long as I ran. Mark's whole strategy is, he likes to say he was just thinking outside the box, right? Yeah, right. All right, Mark.
Which box
I
exactly?
have no idea. I'm supposed to talk to you about how great Romney and Ryan are. I'll get there in 1 second. But that story reminded me of one other funny story. And those of you who are elected, you know these fun stories at campaigns are a bear. You are throwing together an organization of people who have never met before. You become fast and furious friends. Maybe that's a poor choice of words, but you become very good friends. You raise a lot of money, you spend a lot of money, and it's just controlled chaos. Wouldn't you say? Anybody who's run for office? That's a good example. Well, my finance director had another great idea the other day. We're doing a Halloween party, Halloween-themed party, and she's trying to tell everybody how great this themed party would be. And she wanted everybody to know that clothing was optional. She meant costumes are optional. But she told the crowd that clothing was optional. Nobody corrected her. So I was a little bit worried about the people who RSVP'd very early. In any event, that's what campaigns are like. But I can tell you, the Romney campaign, this is the most clever segue I've ever done in my political career. The Romney campaign, though, is one of the most organized, wonderful campaigns I've ever been around and associated with. And I can say, What I like so much about the Romney campaign is how I believe he will be as President of the United States. Mitt Romney understands that the greatest value in the country, in our great country, is people. That people make America, government doesn't make America. And it has been an absolute joy to be a part of this. I believe, first of all, Mitt Romney chose the best running mate he possibly could in Paul Ryan. I know Paul. He is one of the hardest working, smartest people I've ever met in my life, and that says a lot. But it's a fantastic ticket, and I am so proud to be a part of it. Before I go on much farther, I wanted to show the ladies in the crowd, probably more than the guys, what my inspiration now is to do what I do. It was my dad, the B-17 waste donor, and it was my mom, the chemist on the Manhattan Project. But now it's this, if you can see it. Grandkids, she knew. This is little Sonny. This is Sonny's only grandchild, and the gods, or the heavens, excuse me, work in mysterious ways. Little Sonny was actually born on his grandfather Sonny's birthday. Yeah, so this is little Sonny, and can everybody see it, ladies? Because I know, is that just shameless? But he is just so gorgeous. But this is my inspiration, and when I listen to the Democrats talk about economic stimulus, tax raises, all of the things that they believe in, I think of how my grandson Sonny is actually spending 40 cents of every dollar is put on his back already. And he's not even 1 year old yet. So this is my inspiration. And I believe that the time has never been like it is now. That this is the biggest crossroads that in America that we've seen. You know, you used to have, by the way, I still have sort of a Hollywood liberal part of my family. In some strange way, Cher and I are still connected. And I have to read Cher's tweets, how much she hates Republicans. And so I still have this strange connection. But so sometimes it's hard to argue with liberals. It's actually always hard to argue with liberals. You just probably can't even start. But when you talk about this, when we've talked in the past about the liberal way, the Republican way, you know, you realize that it has never been as clear as it is now what the two differences are. And, you know, I kind of crystallize it in one simple sentence that a young college student said to me the other day. He said, you know, I voted for Obama, and that was great because, you know, he's kind of a cool guy, but I don't want to vote for a cool guy again. I want to vote for the guy who could teach me how to be a millionaire. And, they're getting it. It's not about being cool, it's about leading the free world. And that's what Mitt Romney will do. So I'm happy to be a delegate with all of you. I'm happy to share this convention. It is the time to take our country back. You as Arizonans and we as Californians need to make sure, is that how you say Arizonans? Thank you. We need to take our country back. In California, we're a little frustrated because they just write us off as a deep, deep, deep blue. It's purple. Our state kind of looks like a bruise, I guess, if you would. But we don't get all of the action that you guys get. But in any event, this is our time. So, you know, people ask the importance of the convention. Why? Why anymore? I'll tell you why. Because from now until Election Day, America's starting to pay attention. Those of us who care about politics have been paying attention up until now. We've been active. We've been fighting for the best candidate, the guy or lady we believed in. But between now and November is when America's going to pay attention. And it is important that each and every one of us do all we can to turn out the vote. You know, in California, yeah, you know, like I said, we're purple, we're the bruise. But you know what? Everybody needs to get out and vote. We want Mitt to win with a popular vote as well. We want every single American to know that their vote counts. So that is what this convention is about. Lastly, to close, other than again by thanking you very much for allowing me into your breakfast today. I'll just say that when this hurricane hit, I was thinking, well, we could have had it in California. Ironically, my congressional district has had a swarm of 300 earthquakes since yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
So at least you can see hurricanes coming. So at least we're able to be here and to move indoors and to fight for what we believe in, and that is the election of Mitt Ryan and Paul Romney. Mitt Ryan and Paul Romney. Now you know why I don't do breakfast with us. You know who I mean. So come by my congressional district. Stop in, please. Mark will be there. one place or another, you can find him in my office. Frank is in my Washington office. Again, we love Arizona. We love the fact that you share that line with me. We have a lot in common. So God bless you. God bless this convention. Let's go get him and win in November.